last night, I talked to the most trusted source I have talked to throughout this entire time. And again, I am still saying and still steadfast on the approach that anybody that tells you that they know anything does not know nothing.
Nothing.
I need some relief med after.
But last night, if there was anybody that would know, this guy would know. And I asked him about the Bill O'Brien thing. His eyes widened. He took a step back, and he told me that it was real. Mm-hmm. And since then, I've been in a fog. I think if they hire Bill O'Brien,
that's a swing and a miss.
That is such a swing and miss and such a turnoff of a hire that I can't fathom it right now. I can't even really. I can't even.
I don't want to.
No, I can't even think. I don't want to think that out loud.
I don't. No. I'm putting it in the universe. That's not happening.
Now, if we're gonna be fair on O'Brien, and let's just lay out the story. O'Brien, the way that he finished Houston was abysmal.
Terrible.
I mean, it was as bad as you can be in the NFL. And if you look at the Houston Texans right now, he's pretty much solely to blame for how bad they are.
Yeah.
I mean, the decisions that he made, they gave him such power in that organization. He traded away DeAndre Hopkins. He made moves that just made zero sense. And the Houston Texans will probably have the number 1 pick in the draft for the next couple of seasons because of O'Brien. But before that, he was a very well-respected football coach. He worked alongside Tom Brady. He was the first to get the Penn State job after the Joe Paterno fiasco and things that were going on up there with Jerry Sandusky. He rejuvenated that Penn State program in a time where people thought it was going to be SMU football, that it was going to be the death penalty on the field. Like, it didn't matter. You could have hired Vince Lombardi, Nick Saban, and Bear Bryant, and you were never going to get back. But Bill O'Brien was the guy that brought Penn State back pretty quick in a time where nobody thought that could happen. He also has Tom Brady's tutor on his resume. And if you read some reports about what happened at the end of Houston, Tom Brady made a comment, or somebody close to Tom Brady made a comment that Brady would want Bill O'Brien to be the head coach to follow up Belichick because he was the one that worked best alongside Brady. And that almost made O'Brien sabotage his days at Houston, if I read correctly. He wanted to get himself out so he could play himself back into New England. Now, it never worked out like that. And like I said, the way that the Houston Texans job ended for Bill O'Brien it's almost unrecoverable.
Regardless of what the greatest quarterback of all time, regardless of what he says to you or says to anyone or anyone close to him says, oh, this is how good. You can't, by tanking and by sabotaging your job because you want another job, that's an indictment on your – it's not good. That's not a good thing to do. I don't care how good of a coach you are. That's not – it just looks awful.
You couldn't have ended it any worse than he did in Houston.
And honestly, Alabama's offense hasn't been –
that's true.
Hasn't been good this year.
If you listen to some of the players in the way that they talk about O'Brien, that's as big of a turnoff as what you watch on the field. I mean, you've got to have somebody that is relatable, especially in recruiting. And look, like I've said the entire time, I'm just telling you what I have been told and what was being reported yesterday on ESPN's College Football Podcast, which is hosted by the faces of the sport. Reese Davis, David Pollack, Kirk Herbstreit, all those guys, Desmond Howard, all those guys come in and talk college football. And Pollack said that they need to hire Dave Aranda. And out of nowhere, the Alabama alum, the proud Tide fan / reporter host, Reese Davis, pops in and says, I think Bill O'Brien's going to be the next head coach at LSU. And just kind of shocks everybody. And last night, as I said, throughout this process, I hadn't believed anybody has had any solid information But the person that I spoke to last night, if there was solid information out there, he would have it. And when I asked him if he had heard the Bill O'Brien stuff that, people were talking about nationally, he told me it was real. And I nearly vomited.